welcome to In My Opinion 4, Vampire. You wake up groggy and thirsty, but this is no regular thirst. Oh no, this is a thirst for blood. And as you drain the life from your first victim, you regain your composure and realize you made a terrible mistake that sends you down into a river of despair, as your victim was your own sister. This is the life of Dr. and veteran Jonathan Reed, who has returned from war only to be found in this situation. And it doesn't help that some sort of plague has hit London as well. After being taken in by a hospital and becoming a faculty member, his goal is now to figure out how and why he became a vampire and what's also behind the epidemic. I will say, while the story starts up at a good pace, it does slow down a bit, but it didn't take long to suck me in. Not only did the main plot itself catch my interest with the explanation of how the vampires work here and how it slowly reveals what exactly is going on, the characters themselves are actually pretty good as well. Everyone, including the side characters, has some sort of tale and a variety of personalities, showing that while there are some grade A assholes in this game, that not everyone is as black and white as they seem. They actually feel human, and you find yourself wanting to talk to them more, and not just because of the perks you get, but just out of curiosity of who they are and what are their thoughts. What we have here is an action RPG. You'll be slashing with bone saws and scalpels and bludgeoning with some wood and barbed wire. As you're putting down the beating on hunters and creatures, you must keep an eye on your stamina bar, as certain weapons take a certain amount out of you, and once you're at 0, you can't do shit. No dodging or attacking, and you're at the whim of your enemies. So be sure to let yourself catch your breath during battle. Of course, being a vampire, you do have the ability to bite a bunch of people, though first you gotta wear their stun bar down, and this can be done with a secondary weapon like a spike, using a two-handed weapon like a club, or using a parry technique that some weapons have. Once down, you can chomp down, which helps restore your blood, which is basically your MP bar in the game. The blood is important since that's what allows you to do some vampire magic stuff, such as clawing their faces, healing yourself, and putting up a bloody barrier. These techniques can be the difference between surviving or becoming dead. Well, deader since you're already a freaking vampire. Maiming all these people will net you some experience, which can be used to make yourself stronger and able to do those magic moves I mentioned. It also allows you to improve other things like your health and stamina. All you need to do is use your bed at home base or find one of the many safe houses around the map, which are pretty easy to find, and the game marks them after they are found. Once here, you can pick and choose what you want, and if you're not digging what you spent your experience on, you can ask for a refund and try again, allowing for some freedom to figure out how you want to play. While here, you can also use your workbench, which lets you make some needles to use in combat to restore health and stamina. You get these by finding blueprints to learn how to make them. You can upgrade your weapons as well, making them more powerful. Each weapon has certain levels of strength, and in each level, you can add a little buff, like even more attack power, gain blood while attacking, increasing stun power, and more. Though heads up, you can only add one of the buffs in each level, and while you can always change your mind and go with the other buff, you won't regain what you wasted to make the first buff. Of course, to do all these things, you need resources, and there are plenty to be found around the area, like in the trash, boxes, and such. Enemies also drop them, and you can even buy some from shops. Though, to be honest, the game is rather generous with the resources, since they even respawn in places you already ransacked. So you don't have to worry about shops, which is great since you're not that dependent on money. The combat was actually pretty fun, even though it took a few minutes to get into the groove of things. The attacks also have a good weight to them, making you feel every single impact. I also like the fact that you can make 2 different layouts that you can easily switch between. So you can have one that's a combination of a one-handed quick weapon and a shotgun, then being able to switch to a big two-handed weapon letting you clobber your foes if need be. The battles do feel challenging, and there is no blocking, so you must dodge everything or parry while paying attention to the stamina meter, and your powers run on a cooldown system, so you can't just bombard your foes with blood magic all day. Thankfully, the game doesn't really punish you for death, as you just respawn a few steps away from the battle to give it another go. So yeah, enjoyable combat and a functioning lock-on system. Now the other part of the game is a lot of talking to citizens, which lets you learn about them more and what's been going on lately. There's also a hint system in the game that once again involves talking. Each character has certain information about them locked away, and the only way to break through this is to find out some more info, which can be from another character telling you something, eavesdropping on a conversation, which can take a bit of patience since you gotta wait till a character moves to a certain spot, or the many documents you find laying around. Not only does this let you find out even more about the character, doing this and just generally talking gives you way more experience points than killing enemies. Another positive for giving everyone a chance to speak is it can unlock some side investigations for you to go through, which can be something like finding some grave diggers, examining a dead body, or taking out some vampire hunters because some crazy patient keeps saying she's a damn vampire. While some of those seem rather simple, they not only give you some good XP and possibly other rewards, but there's also a chance it can help you learn more about the characters themselves. What's great is the game doesn't rush you to do any of them, as you can even complete them all at the very end of the game, letting you go at your own pace. There is a sinister side to talking as well, since talking is also like tenderizing the citizens, as you do have the option to embrace people, which will lead to their deaths. but this gives you a crap ton of experience and could even lead to some goodies like stronger weapons. Though some would notice these people disappearing and could end up reacting a certain way to it, like getting depressed or maybe wanting to kill themselves and so on. I honestly like this mechanic and I kinda get what the developers were going for. If you want to be a good vampire, it's obvious you'll be a little weaker since you're trying to repress your blood-sucking urges to keep people alive. So you sacrifice power for keeping the peace compared to going off and killing everyone to become a godlike asshole. While it's a little more challenging going the non-kill happy route, it never felt overly cheap, as I was able to hold my own against all that I faced. Some of these citizens are missable if you don't pay attention while exploring. If you hear someone screaming for help or something like that, it's best to investigate, since if you don't, that person will most likely become someone's dinner. I feel the screams are loud enough that you won't miss it, and there's even a blood vision mode. This lets you see blood silhouettes from a certain distance, track down blood stains, and even see citizens and enemy stats. I mean, you can't just go to the menu to check out how much XP a citizen would give you, but this is even a faster way. There is one more downside of being a douchebag. As you may have noticed, each of the 4 sections have a city health bar. The more it goes down, the more enemies show up in that section and their levels will be higher than yours. This happens as you start picking off people and what big choices you make when it comes to how to deal with the main pillar of each community. Since they are so important to each section, their fate can greatly affect the section itself, which I kinda like since it does make your choices feel more impactful, not only to the story, but gameplay as well. The citizens also can become sick, as every time you sleep to upgrade your character, they can catch something. To heal them, just go to your crafting table and make some medicine. Though do it fast, since every time you sleep, time passes and their sickness can become much more serious, and you will need different medical materials. Keeping them nice and healthy and alive will help keep the section less difficult. I will say I have one problem when it comes to the whole hint and choice system. What's kind of annoying about the hint system is when you pick a wrong response to a question the NPC asks, you can be locked out of the hint forever. It doesn't help that some of these questions are random, and if you're unsure about the answer, you can't back out and you just gotta guess, which is stupid. Why should I be punished for not knowing someone's damn childhood when I know nothing about the character? There are also times when you've picked up an item that the game would give you the option to give to a character it belongs to, and with no heads up, it can lock you out of the hints again. This is again annoying because now you're locked out from finding out more about the character if you're interested, or if your goal is to embrace a character, now you can't get the most experience out of them. The choice system kind of falls in the same realm of confusing when it comes to the big choice you gotta make for the main pillar characters. Since you would think the best response would be the one you worked hard for to unlock, especially with wording like charm a character. But I learned that nope, it can backfire. So you're left with the thought process of, I want to make a certain choice, this looks like the choice I want, but swerve. And since there's an autosave and you can't save multiple files, you're left blindsided and frustrated, since the section you wanted to keep clean is now ruined cause confusion. As you can see, the map is pretty big, and while you do have a run button, that doesn't mean you'll be zooming around at a fast pace. The game also lacks any type of warping between safe houses, which kinda sucks, but they remedied this a bit with the ability to open new paths. Think of something like the Souls games, when you get into a new area and open a locked door that connects to the previous area, making traveling easier and faster. The game doesn't look half bad at all. The important and side characters have some nice detail, though I can't say the same for the background characters, like those people in the beds and such who look all blurry. Vampire does succeed in creating a morbid London. It really does look and feel like the place is suffering through an awful epidemic and is going into ruins. It's all rather depressing, but in a good way. And even with everything being so drab, each section has a unique look to it, like the docks, or cemetery, or the hospital, still adding some life to this lifeless place. The creature design ain't bad either and look rather grotesque, though I wish we had a bit more variety. Same goes for the vampire hunters that are trying to end your life. There is some great voice work given here by the whole cast as well, accent and all.
I was just pretending. Doris told me I could have been a great actress.
You killed your family.
They mocked my talent. Ah!
You can tell this game is not running at a constant frame rate, but it's not awful. You just notice some little chugs here and there. Besides the frame rate, I didn't run into many bugs, with only one popping up with the game not restoring my ammo after a certain boss had killed me. But after I killed said boss, all went back to normal. So yeah, besides that, everything else was fine.
Sickness moves faster than influenza.
Yeah, there's some presentation problems, and I had some issues with the whole hint system and certain parts of the choice system. But even with that, I must say this was a damn enjoyable game. I had a good time learning not only about our characters, especially our lead, but also the lore this world had built. I spent about 30 hours with the game, and that's with talking to everyone I could talk to, collecting all the lore papers, and doing all the side investigations. For replay value, there are 4 endings you can obtain, and you can go doing around those other things I just mentioned. Just a heads up, there's no exploring after you beat the game, so be sure to clean up before the final boss battle. So in the end, I recommend this game, as there's only one thing that truly sucks in it. I hope you enjoy my thoughts in this game, and for gamer's sake, keep gaming.